This is Chris Kill with the second edition of your Secret to Lower Abs Training exercise selection. All right, and when I'm thinking of core training, oftentimes we hear about making things like leg lifts harder or sit-ups harder by holding weight, doing different things. Okay, or we hear about making planks more unstable or whatever it may be. Okay, and while all of those exercises are awesome, the thing is we're trying to target our lower abs. Okay, and last week we talked about exercises to activate our lower abs, but now what do? Okay, for me, what I found through testing in our program and everything else, we utilize a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay, for exercises involving the lower body, where we bring our knees to our chest, such as a leg lift, or something where a leg lift, a reverse crunch, that sort of thing, versus torso movement like this where we're crunching down. Okay, and this makes sense because if I'm sitting in a chair all day, okay, I'm sort of in a crunch all day, right? And so oftentimes what we see is development here, okay, but also kind of just this like computer posture where I'm in front like this, okay? Whereas we almost never have I seen development of the lower abs, and when we're testing people in their sit-up versus their leg lift, people can do sit-ups all day, but leg lifts are a big problem. So in your training, I want you to think about doing many, many more movements that involve leg movement versus movement of the upper body towards the waist. Okay, so that's kind of the first component. The second component that we want to think about is that when we're training our abs, we have basically two ways that we can do it. Okay, we have something like a leg lift where I'm on my back, I'm lifting my legs up and down. Okay, and that involves actually moving the torso. Okay, that's what we call concentric movement. The other element is stabilization. Okay, now a good stabilization example would be for my lower body. I'm doing something where I'm just, instead of raising my legs up and down where I'm moving, I'm holding my legs out and I'm not moving. I'm moving another segment of my body just to kind of create more tension, but this part is teaching the abs to stabilize. Okay, and if we really want to get the most out of our lower abdominals and kind of development there, we want to train both functions. Okay, and in this video I'm going to give you a couple ideas of how to do just that. Right, my number one go-to exercise to train the lower abs for concentrically or with movement is a leg lift. Okay, and again, we went over this last week, but you want to just find a slight arch in your back, raise your legs, and just lower as low as you can while keeping your back position the same and come back up. Okay, if you can do more than say 8 to 12 in this position, move a little bit lower until you can get all the way to the ground. Okay, and in subsequent videos we'll show you some ways to make that harder, but that's kind of the example of the lower body. For the stabilization component, or sort of the other end of the spectrum, okay, we have what I call an abdominal pullover. Okay, and I'm still going to have my legs, still want to find that back position. I'm still going to have my legs up, but instead of raising and lowering my legs, I'm just going to bring them to the point where I can maintain this back position, and I'm going to initiate some sort of an arm movement. Okay, so we'll say I press into the ground here like this. Okay, or we could do a pullover, or whatever it may be. The way that we progress this is that we lower the legs. Okay, by the time my lower abs are really strong, I can be almost flat doing this stuff. But the key is that we're able to add progressive resistance to each. Okay, when you master those two things only, okay, you're going to see great development from your lower abs because we're using them to produce force, and that's the key concept here. So in this week's videos, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how we can make each exercise harder and add a little bit of variety.